Hello! In the last video we started a spectacular experiment in which we poured a chicken egg into a glass and placed it in a special incubator. If the result of the experiment is successful, we could observe the stages of development of the chicken embryo with our own eyes. And today we will show you what we managed to do. This video is edited from the most interesting images we shot during the 3 years of our experiment. The first thing we saw was a formation of the vascular system of the embryo. It's a small circle with capillaries leading to the center of the yolk, in which the small heart is already beating. It's amazing and quite unbelievable how yolk molecules know in which order to line up to create something like that. And also how blood is formed from a yolk like this. Second day. Now we see not only the heart and the capillaries, but also something more understandable. This is the body of the embryo from which our chicken should grow. You can't even imagine how small the heart is. It was very difficult for us to bring it closer to take a closer look at it. Its size is about 1 millimeter, can you imagine that? It can already pump the required amount of blood efficiently. We managed to enlarge it so that we can also see the blood cells moving through the capillaries. Day 3. Now we can clearly see the contours of the embryo, the bases of the eye and the pupil are visible, and the bases of all limbs are also visible. The heart is still clearly visible, but it will soon hide behind the embryo's body. Day 4. The yolk shell ruptures and spreads over the entire surface of the protein. It's not a problem, that's how it should be. We see the first movements of our embryo. The eye was already noticeably darker and almost black. If you look closely, a bag of transparent fluid has been created around the embryo, in which the embryo floats. Among other things, this bag also has a protective function in case the egg breaks. Day 6. Wow, look at how they move! Embryos really look like chickens. The huge black eye is so big in relation to the head. It's because the eye is the only organ that does not change its size during life. When we show these images on our channel, many people ask why are there vessels and capillaries. They are there to transport nutrients from the egg yolk to the body of the embryo, thanks to which the embryo grows. But unfortunately, many embryos could not live through the entire incubation period. And for some reason, their heart stopped beating. This is logical, because the conditions they are going through are not entirely natural. Over the course of 3 years, we tried to hatch hundreds of eggs and tried dozens of different breeds of chicken. There have been many failures. But we tried not to give up. Day 8. The yolk membrane with capillaries occupies more than a third of the yolk surface. As a result, it brings more and more nutrients into the embryo. Just look at how actively he moves. It seems to me that one of the functions of such movement is to mix the yolk that is under the embryo. It's likely that it will be better absorbed by the capillaries due to mixing. Note that the neck of the embryo has become much thinner. The head stands out much more and the limbs have lengthened. In addition, they can now bend. For this reason, the embryo occasionally moves. In nature, the chicken rotates the egg every few hours. And to at least mimic this, we set the incubator at an angle and rotated the jars 120 degrees every few hours in the first half of the incubation cycle. The eggs you see below prepare a new embryo in case this one doesn't mature. Unfortunately, this happened often. Day 10. Just look at this little miracle. His eyes have finally opened and he is looking at this world long before all his brothers can. The two fingers on the wings are already clearly recognizable. It moves actively, which contributes to its proper development. No wonder it is said that movement is life. And now there's even a beak. 12th day. This is something unbelievable. I can't believe we are able to capture such beautiful shots of the development of a chicken embryo. In just 2 days it's almost doubled. Feathers appeared on the tail and sides. And we can't even imagine how complicated the process in front of our eyes is. The blood vessels are already very large, and the chicken is swinging its claws very close to them, so we feared it would tear them apart. But nature obviously thought of everything and made them strong enough. So nothing happened in the end. Day 15. The chicken is already very big. Notice that the chicken's ear is visible to the left of the eye. We don't see it with newborn chickens or even adult chickens because it's covered with feathers. After the 17th day, the chicken begins to actively consume oxygen. In nature, oxygen seeps through the shell because it's not airtight, then enters the bloodstream and rushes to the embryo. But because we don't have a shell, we decided to supply pure oxygen to the open part of the embryo. First we used a special cylinder with purified medical oxygen, but for a long time it was not enough for us. Then we bought a special oxygen generator that was able to continuously produce the required amount of oxygen. We inserted special tubes into the incubator and distributed the oxygen between the embryos. On the 19th day, the chicken absorbs the rest of the yolk. Almost the entire space of the glass is occupied with its body, and we are approaching the end of its development. The next day, there was almost no yolk left. We were almost sure that everything would work out, because there was only less than 1 day left. But then something happened and the embryo died. After these shots, we had a long series of failures. Embryos would often die and we could not avoid it. We continued our experiments with the composition and concentration of the solution and the amount of oxygen, which are the conditions in which our embryos developed. In recent months, we almost lost hope and almost stopped counting the days, nor bothered to film anything on camera. We just did something and hoped. One morning, however, I heard some noises from the room. We approached the incubator, I opened it, and I couldn't believe it. There was something alive. That's a chicken! It's unbelievable! We succeeded! We were very happy! Cookie, look who made it! We have a chicken! 3 years of experiments were not in vain. We hope you'll share this video with your friends. That would be the best reward for our hard work. It was urgent to come up with a shelter for him. After all, he could freeze and get sick. We took a blue box, put napkins on the bottom and pulled out a table lamp and screwed a special light bulb to it for heating reptiles. But it should also work for chickens. Well, now he's warmer. We'll make a small nest of grass for hamsters and put it inside. It's going to be more comfortable for him. However, this is not the end of the experiment, because he's still very weak and doesn't want to get up from his belly. We need to make sure that he is healthy, firmly on his feet and eating well. You'll see all of this in the next video. Subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss anything and help us come up with a name for him. Give us your ideas down in the comments.